So students, let us continue our chapter Consumer Rights. As in the previous part, which was the first module of this chapter, Consumer Rights, we discussed that what is a consumer, market, producer, the forms of consumer exploitations and the factor causing exploitation of consumers. Today the main topic which we discuss is consumer movement. In India, the consumer movement as a social force originated with the necessity of promoting and protecting the interest of consumer against unethical, as we discussed yesterday in the last part, and unfair trade practices. This, in the last module also we discussed that actually the culture of this consumer starts in USA after the First World War. USA, a capitalist nation, and this is how the consumer movement also starts in USA as a result in 1950 and 60s period. While in India, somewhere the consumer movement starts in 60s, but at that time the voice in favor of consumer was saying through the articles, etc. It is in 1970s when the consumer movement start in India in an organized way, where these all different organizations frame different consumer groups. These organizations framed consumer groups to look into the malpractices like in ration shops, etc. More recently in India witnessed an upsurge in the number of consumer groups. Because of all these efforts, the movement succeeded in bringing pressure on business conduct which may be unfair and against the interest of consumer at large. And this is how a major step was taken by the government of India by the enactment of COBRA in the year 1986. COBRA means Consumer Protection Act 1996. Recently also government passed the law of RTI in the year 2005, which is right to information. These both steps of the government are taken by the pressures by these different consumer movement. Now the question comes in front of us is that why need for these rules and regulation to save the consumer? Due to the expansion of trade and business activities, There are variety of goods available in the market, and which makes it difficult for the consumer to make a correct choice. So this is how there is need of con- producer do not provide sufficient information also, and for this also we need for some rules and regulations. We can take here examples of like the example of medicine, where now it is compulsory for the producer to give the whole information, all the ingredients plus the magnified and the expiry date of that particular medicines. On the other hand, cigarette companies also now, not only it is necessary for the cigarette company to write down that using of cigarette is harmful for health, but also now they have to paste the picture of lungs and mouth cancer also, that how much these things affect to a human being, and that's all happened just because of the rules and regulations made by the government. Adulteration. Obviously, there are some greedy traders being to play with the health of a consumer through these adulterations by adding these some impurities, especially to edible oils, milks, butter, ghee, etc. But all these things are harmful for consumers' health. To stop this thing, also we need some rules and regulations. After 1991, a major turning point in Indian economy by the introduction of LPG in India, that is the liberalization, privatization, and globalization. It was felt that there is a greater need to enforce discipline and regulation in the market and to make the consumers aware not only of the commercial aspect of sales and purchases of goods but also the health and security aspects. And especially after 1991, we need some rules and regulations for this. Most of the goods or the services are being produced by the private sectors, and obviously their main motive is profit, and for this, to complete their motive, they play with consumers. So to stop this also, there is need for rules and regulations. This is how we discussed that how consumer movements start in the world from America came to India, and also discussed that after why should we need some rules and regulations. That's all for today. Thank you. In the next part, we just discuss the consumer rights and where should consumers go to get justice.